Hello students, how are you all? I am PK sir. So today I'm going to upload the new chapter. Okay, the chapter name is Bhakti-Sufi Traditions, and this is the first part of this video lessons. Okay, so start the chapter. First, anything in the history, if you want to study, then we need or require sources or the evidences from where you are getting this. Okay, so if you want to study the cultural development, the social developments from 8th to 18th centuries in India, then definitely you have to know from where you are getting the informations. Understood? Now, there are several sources are available for this period, like attribution of the poet saints, okay, and different compositions in the religious languages, or original messages of the religious gurus, okay, even the hagiographics, biographics, right, or puranas, stupa, monasteries, temples. So many evidences we have available regarding this period and how this cultural development happened, or in what way different kind of religious point of view originated in that time, and how the movement organized, we'll get to know. Understood? So these are the sources, and according to these sources, the student tried to reconstruct the past period. Followed? Now turn to the next point. A mosaic of the religious beliefs and the practices. Now, it is definitely true that one of the most striking features of this page, I mean to say 8th to 18th centuries, is the increasing visibilities of the different gods and goddess, right? Actually, in the early Vedic period, uh, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shivji were the main god, right? But later on, in the at the age of 8th centuries, from the 8th centuries to the 18th centuries period, different female goddess also were added for the mainstream Hindu religions, right? So we'll get to know about these integrations of different cults, right? So historians tried to understand these kind of developments, and they have pointed out two points. Okay, one was the process, right? One was the process of spreading Brahminical ideas. In this process, Puranic texts to a book were composed in the Sanskrit book, right? Compiled and preserved also. And later, this kind of Puranic textbook written in a very simple Sanskrit languages to enable for the women and Sudras also. Understood? So these are the sources. And point number two, Brahmanas accepted and rework the beliefs and the practices of other social categories. Actually, what happening in that time, the position of the Brahmanas was going down actually. So that's why they to regain their position, they accepted the different kind of practices and rituals of the local traditions. So this thing happened. Now historian divided these two period as one is great Puranic traditions, another one is little traditions. Now for examples, the best examples of this process definitely is the Puri Jagannatha temples. Actually, Jagannatha was the local deity, right? And tribal people worship as their main god. But to regain the power, to regain the positions of the Brahmanas, what they did, they adopted one new theory, and they told to everyone, and they written also to medical books that Jagannatha was the incarnation of the Lord Vishnu. Okay. Now, Even the goddess cult, worship of the goddess cult, you know, actually was in a very simple form, and local deities actually was incorporated by the by giving them one identity that they were the wife of the main god. So in this way, god is also added. Understood? And tantric ideas also integrated into the Vajrayana Buddhism or other form of the Hinduism, where different kind of simple form of the chanting mantras or singing, they were worshiping the local god and goddess. So in this way, integration of the cult, that I mean to say, the local gods and goddess were considered as the main Hindu gods. It started from the 8th century onwards, and it was continuing up to 18th centuries. Actually, I have told you the positions of the Brahmana, became very weak actually. So that's why they wanted to regain their power. So they did it. Understood? So and I have told you that they have divided. Historian have been divided these two periods as the great traditions and the little traditions. Now, what do you mean by the great traditions? Great traditions actually in which area, in which time the early Vedic god, like Agni, Indra-deva, or Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, were worshipping, right? These are the main, and their language was the Sanskrit actually. Now, in the little tradition, local god and goddess were added, and they were also worshipping as in the form of the main Hindu god. Understood? Now, differences and conflicts. The last point of this video lesson. Now, often associated with the goddess were forms of the worship that were classified as the tantric, especially in the northern India and eastern India. Tantric practice was very common actually in that time. They even this all caste, including men and women from the all sections of the society, were welcome for the tantric practices. Actually, there were no barrier if you want to practice the tantrism in that time. And this kind of form of the worship actually inspired from the Saivism actually, right? So these divergent and disparate beliefs and practices came to be classified as the Hindu, okay, for next 1000 years. Now, as you all know that Vedic god or Vedic traditions included Agnideva, Indradeva, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwar, and they were worshipping by chanting the mantras, Sanskrit mantras, right? Or in some other way. So definitely conflicts was there because already I have told you that the practice of tantrism, started in the northern India and the eastern India. So definitely there was conflict. What kind of conflicts? Because Vedic tradition also there, and the practice of tantrism also there. But people attracted the way to worship to your god. That was the tantrism because it was very simple and there was no caste barriers. But in the Vedic tradition there was a caste barrier. So definitely conflict was there, and people more and more attracted to this process, like in the form of the Vedic traditions. You practice the common practices, and you know you perform the sacrifices or chanted mantras. But in the other hand, who engage in the tantric practice, they frequently ignore the authority of the Veda, okay, which attracted the common peoples. Even they devoted to themselves, to their own chosen god, like Shivji, Orja, or Vishnu, right? So the tradition of these kind of divisions in that time, that means 8th century to 18th centuries, was known as the Bhakti, and which movement was led by them. Okay, regarding this is known as the Bhakti movement. Okay, so singing and chanting of the devotional composition was a part of such kind of or such mode of worship. Okay, and this was particularly, you can see in the Vaishya, Vaishnava and the Saiva sects. Understood? So these were the differences. I have told you the differences regarding the way towards it, Vedic differences and the Tantric differences and the conflicts. Definitely conflicts was there because people started believing, and as the process was very simple and there were no caste barriers, so definitely the followers of the Tantrism increase and the positions of the Brahmana become very weak. So that's why conflicts was there. So that is the story for this video lesson. Okay, followed. I hope you are understood. So if you have any problem, definitely you can contact with me. And in my next video clip, I will continue this chapter and try to explain what is written on your book. Okay, thank you very much.